The annual Johnson family reunion was in full swing at Uncle Peter's lakeside mansion, complete with its usual mix of judgmental comments and not-so-subtle competition. The sprawling backyard was dotted with relatives showing off their latest luxury purchases and bragging about their children's achievements. I sat in a corner of the patio, quietly scrolling through my phone, monitoring user metrics and engagement rates while my cousins paraded around in designer outfits. "Still playing with your little internet stuff, Sarah?" Aunt Margaret's voice dripped with condescension as she approached, martini in hand. "You know, my Thomas just made junior partner at Goldman Sachs. A real career." I nodded absently, approving a server upgrade that would affect millions of users across Southeast Asia. "That's nice, Aunt Margaret. When are you going to get a real job?" Uncle Peter joined in, his booming voice drawing attention from nearby relatives. "All this social media nonsense. It's not a proper career for someone with your education." The irony of him saying this while checking his Facebook notifications wasn't lost on me. "I'm doing fine," I said, hiding a smile as I watched our latest algorithm adjustment increase user engagement by 12% in real time. "Fine." My cousin Rachel scoffed, flashing her new engagement ring. "You're still living in that tiny apartment driving that old Toyota. Meanwhile, my James just bought us a penthouse in Manhattan." More relatives drifted over, eager to join the familiar sport of criticizing the family disappointment. The one who'd turned down a prestigious law firm position to work on some mysterious internet project. "What do you even do all day?" Uncle Peter demanded. "Just post pictures and tweets?" Before I could answer, every phone in the gathering suddenly buzzed simultaneously. Breaking news alerts. My heart rate picked up slightly. The embargo had lifted right on schedule. "Oh my God," Rachel gasped, staring at her screen. "The mystery founder of Global Connect has finally been revealed." $8 billion net worth, Aunt Margaret whispered, her martini forgotten. "Youngest self-made tech billionaire." Uncle Peter was frantically scrolling through the article. "Says they've been operating in secret for years, revolutionizing social media algorithms and user engagement metrics." I continued tapping on my phone, adjusting parameters for our West Coast servers. "The Asian markets are opening soon," I said to no one in particular. "Might want to watch the stock price." The silence that followed was deafening. The next few minutes were a chaotic symphony of notifications as more news alerts flooded everyone's phones. My face, the same one they'd been criticizing moments ago for looking tired and unstylish, was now appearing on every major financial news network. Sarah Johnson, 28, revealed as the founder and CEO of Global Connect, the revolutionary social media analytics platform valued at over $40 billion, Cousin Rachel read aloud, her voice shaking. Known for its groundbreaking AI-driven engagement algorithms, Global Connect powers 80% of major social networks worldwide. Uncle Peter had gone from red-faced criticism to ghostly pale in record time. But you work from your apartment." "My apartment." I finally looked up from my phone, which takes up the entire top floor of the building and houses one of our main development labs. "The old Toyota has a custom AI system that's more advanced than most spacecraft. But yes, Uncle Peter, I just play with internet stuff all day." Aunt Margaret collapsed into a nearby chair, her manicured hand clutching her chest. "All those times we invited you to networking events were when I was closing deals with Silicon Valley's biggest names," I finished. "Those emergency work calls during family dinners? Usually board meetings with our international investors." My cousin Thomas, the Goldman Sachs success story, was frantically pulling up Global Connect's stock charts on his phone. "This is impossible. The growth rate, the market penetration, is exactly why your firm tried to acquire us last month," I said casually. "That rejection letter you personally delivered to our unknown founder actually came to my desk. Your analysis was quite thorough, though you missed our expansion into quantum computing." The color drained from Thomas's face as he realized he'd accidentally snubbed a client worth billions. More relatives were rushing over now, phones extended like offerings, showing headlines that ranged from "tech's best-kept secret revealed" to "mystery billionaire was hidden in plain sight." "But why keep it secret?" Rachel demanded, her new engagement ring suddenly looking less impressive. "Why let us think you were struggling?" I stood up, smoothing my simple black dress, the one they'd earlier dismissed as off the rack, despite it being a one-of-a-kind piece from a designer who exclusively clothed tech billionaires. Because success isn't about mansions or fancy cars or bragging at family reunions, I said, watching my net worth tick up another few million as Asian markets reacted to the news. It's about creating something that changes the world. While you were all competing over who had the biggest house or most prestigious job title, I was building technology that connects billions of people. A flurry of notifications lit up my phone. The company's executive team requesting emergency meetings, reporters clamoring for interviews, and Mark Zuckerberg himself trying to schedule a call. I silenced them all with a gesture that my relatives now watched with newfound fascination. "The Toyota," Uncle Peter muttered, still processing. "I made fun of your Toyota just last Christmas. The car that's powered by our proprietary AI system?" I raised an eyebrow. "The one that major automotive companies are currently bidding billions to license?" "Yes, I remember your comments about how I should upgrade to a real luxury vehicle." Cousin Jessica, who'd spent the last hour showing off her new Cartier bracelet, suddenly looked like she might faint. "Those coding sessions you were always doing during family vacations. We're building the foundation for what's now the most advanced social media analytics platform in the world." I pulled up a holographic display from my watch, another prototype the family had mocked as a cheap smartwatch. Speaking of which, the display showed a real-time visualization of their social media activity during the reunion. Every dismissive comment about my career, every boast about their own achievements, every subtle dig at my lifestyle, all captured and analyzed by my algorithms. "Amazing how quickly online behavior changes when news breaks," I observed, watching their social media posts transform from condescending remarks about my internet job to proud claims of family connection. Our sentiment analysis algorithms caught over 200 status updates from this gathering alone, shifting from negative to positive in 3 minutes flat. That might be a new record. Aunt Margaret was frantically deleting her earlier Facebook posts. "Sarah dear, about what I said regarding proper careers." "Save it," I cut her off gently. "Your posts are already archived in our global database, along with everyone else's." I gestured around the suddenly quiet gathering. "Did you never wonder why my little internet project could predict social trends with 99.9% accuracy? We've been analyzing real-world social interactions like this reunion for years." Thomas was still staring at his phone, now showing Global Connect's partnership announcements rolling out across all major tech news sites. "The Goldman analysis. We estimated your user base at 100 million. Try 3 billion. I corrected him. "Your models missed our shadow networks and proxy engagements. A common mistake when you're too focused on traditional metrics." Rachel had sunk into a chair, her giant engagement ring now hidden in her lap. "All those times you couldn't attend my shopping trips because of work meetings were actually board meetings with some of the world's largest tech companies," I nodded. "Though I doubt the Chanel bags you bought would have impressed our Saudi investors much anyway." The catering staff, who I'd quietly hired to replace Uncle Peter's usual service, though he hadn't noticed, began serving champagne. Not the domestic brand he favored, but the same ultra-rare vintage I'd had flown in for our last billion-dollar acquisition celebration. To success, I raised my glass, watching my net worth tick up another 100 million as European markets opened. However you choose to define it. The sun was setting over Uncle Peter's lake, casting a golden glow that made everything look more expensive than it was, a fitting metaphor for the family's carefully maintained facade of success. The reunion had transformed into an impromptu press event, with relatives alternating between managing their suddenly viral social media posts and trying to position themselves closer to me. My phone buzzed again, this time with a message that made me smile. "Something amusing?" Thomas asked eagerly, having appointed himself my unofficial assistant in the last hour. "Just Elon," I said casually, watching their eyes widen. "Wondering if I'm still joining him for lunch tomorrow to discuss that Mars communication project." Before anyone could respond, a sleek black helicopter appeared over the lake, bearing the Global Connect logo. My actual assistant, Maya, stepped out as it landed on Uncle Peter's pristine lawn, carrying a holographic tablet. "Ms. Johnson," she said professionally, ignoring the gawking relatives. The board is requesting an emergency meeting. Also, the president would like to reschedule your call about the National AI Initiative. The president? Aunt Margaret choked on her fourth martini of the evening. Tell him Thursday works better, I replied, watching my uncle's prized lawn get blown about by the helicopter's rotors. And remind him that my position on AI regulation hasn't changed. Maya nodded, her augmented reality contact lenses flickering as she updated my schedule. The Time magazine cover shoot has been moved up. They're calling it The Silent Revolution: How Sarah Johnson Changed the Internet Without Anyone Noticing. Rachel, who'd once mocked my preference for simple clothes, was now photographing my outfit from multiple angles, probably for her fashion blog. The irony that her blog's recommendation algorithm was powered by my technology seemed lost on her. Speaking of noticing things, I said, pulling up another holographic display, let's talk about what happens next. The display showed a complex web of connections, every family member's digital footprint, financial status, and career trajectory, all analyzed by my AI. Global Connect isn't just a social media company, I explained, watching their faces as they recognized their own data nodes. We're a human connection prediction engine. We don't just track what people do online, we understand why they do it. Uncle Peter shifted uncomfortably as his node highlighted, showing his company's declining market share. Sarah, about what I said regarding real jobs. Your company's struggling, I continued calmly. The AI predicted it 3 years ago when you refused to adapt to digital transformation. But it also shows potential for recovery, with the right guidance. The display shifted, showing future projections and opportunity matrices. Every family member's node pulsed with unrealized potential and warnings. I'm offering each of you a choice, I said, gesturing to Maya, who began distributing sleek black folders. Inside these folders are 2 things: an analysis of where your current path leads, and an opportunity to be part of what comes next. What comes next? Thomas asked, already opening his folder eagerly. The next phase of Global Connect. We're not just reshaping social media anymore. We're rebuilding how human beings connect, work, and create value. I paused as another $1 billion was added to my net worth from the European markets. But it requires something this family has always struggled with: humility and willingness to learn. The folders contained personalized AI-generated reports that laid bare every mistake, missed opportunity, and false assumption each family member had made. Alongside these brutal truths were detailed paths to redemption, roles within Global Connect's expanding empire that would utilize their actual talents rather than their imagined ones. This is devastating, Rachel whispered, staring at her report. It's honest, I corrected. Something this family could use more of. Maya's lenses flickered again. Ms. Johnson, Mr. Zuckerberg is quite insistent about that call. Tell him my family takes priority today, I said, earning grateful looks that I met with measured skepticism. Though he might be interested in the behavioral data we've gathered here. The sun had fully set now, and the helicopter's lights cast long shadows across the lawn. In the distance I could see news vans gathering at the property gate, held back by the security team I'd quietly put in place hours ago. Why give us another chance? Uncle Peter asked finally, his earlier arrogance replaced by something approaching understanding. After how we treated you. I stood up, straightening my dress as Maya prepared the helicopter for departure. Because success means nothing if you can't lift others up along the way. But, I added, seeing hope bloom in their eyes, that doesn't mean the path will be easy. The holographic display shifted one final time, showing a countdown clock. You have 48 hours to decide. Choose to join us and you'll need to earn your place through actual merit, not family connection. Decline and, well, the AI has some interesting predictions about your 5-year trajectories. As if on cue, their phones buzzed again. More breaking news about Global Connect's expanding influence and my growing net worth. The numbers were almost incomprehensible now, especially to a family that had thought a lakeside mansion was the height of success. Time to go, Maya announced. The Tokyo markets are opening soon. I headed toward the helicopter, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. I turned back to my stunned relatives. That little internet stuff I was always working on? It recorded everything said at every family gathering for the past 5 years. The AI used it to perfect its human behavior prediction models. So, Thanks for the data. The look on their faces as I boarded the helicopter was worth more than all the billions in my account. As the helicopter lifted off, I watched through its smart glass windows as my family members below frantically pored over their folders. The AI's predictive display showed me their real-time emotional states: shock, regret, hope, fear, all exactly as the algorithm had forecast. Maya, I called over the engine noise, show me the family response matrix. A complex web of data appeared before me, tracking every family member's digital reactions to the day's revelations. Uncle Peter was already on the phone with his board of directors, his voice stress patterns indicating panic. Cousin Rachel had begun deleting years of condescending social media posts about traditional careers. Thomas was desperately emailing his Goldman Sachs superiors, trying to explain how he'd missed evaluating the century's biggest tech success. Their online behavior patterns are shifting exactly as predicted, Maya noted, her AR lenses processing the data. 89% alignment with the AI's social response model. I nodded, watching as my net worth ticked up another billion. The Asian markets were reacting even more strongly than anticipated to the revelation of Global Connect's true ownership. Ms. Johnson, Maya's voice took on a more personal tone. Your mother is calling. My throat tightened slightly. Mom? The quiet librarian who'd supported my internet hobby when everyone else mocked it. Who'd secretly learned coding at night so she could understand what I was building. Who'd never once doubted me, even when I couldn't tell her what I was really creating. Put her through, I said softly. Sarah. Mom's voice came through. I saw the news. All those nights in the basement. We were building something bigger than anyone imagined, I said. She laughed with pride and tears. Your father would be proud. He always said you'd change the world. Dad died before Global Connect launched, but I still listed him as co-inventor. There's more, I said. Check your email. She gasped. A new AI-powered library system. Dad's dream of free education now real. You'll lead it. Me? She whispered. Who better? We flew toward Global Connect Tower. Tomorrow's headlines flashed. My secret empire revealed, education revolution announced. Calls from family poured in. Apologies, business offers, claims they always believed. I sent them all the same report. Only those who read it fully might have a role. As we landed, I told Maya to bill Uncle Peter for lawn damage. Already done. Rachel texted. She'd finally read my old plan. We should have listened. I smiled. Success isn't just proving people wrong. It's showing them a better way.